Hello, welcome to our RecapPlus channel with me, Matthew. Today we will watch a recap movie called Ad Astra, released in 2019. This is a spoiler content video, so please turn on the subtitle and let's start the story. The Moon and Mars are the settings where Major Roy McBride, a 52-year-old astronaut, undergoes a psychological evaluation. Subsequently, he proceeds to a space antenna, descending a ladder in a space suit high above Earth. Unexpectedly, a series of malfunctions occur, with a mechanical arm detaching. Amidst a cacophony of alarming sounds, he leaps to the power lever, deactivating it. Plunging towards Earth, he maintains an extraordinary level of composure and deploys a parachute, managing to retain consciousness, unlike others who share his fate. He even survives another person crashing into his flight umbrella, exemplifying remarkable stoicism. Perhaps it's due to the absence of anyone he'd disappoint. Returning to his base, Roy learns of widespread electrical storms on Earth through the news. Subsequently, he attends a meeting with Space Comm. Impressed by his impressive record, they inquire about the rumored fact that his pulse never exceeded 80 during any spacewalk, including the recent crash. When asked about marriage or children, he explains his decision to spare others from the perils of his hazardous career. Confidential information emerges about the origin of these electrical storms. Neptune emits cosmic ray bursts containing high-energy particles. The concern centers on an uncontrolled chain reaction that could unleash antimatter capable of annihilating all life. Roy's father, Clifford McBride, a pioneering space traveler, is believed to be alive near Neptune. The Lima project's crew, of which Roy's father was part, left when Roy was 16, and contact was lost 20 years ago. The revelation that his father might still be alive elicits visible distress in Roy, a stark departure from his usual demeanor. Consequently, Space Comm requests Roy to send a secure personal message from Mars to the Lima project, hoping for his father's response. This mission must remain highly confidential, necessitating commercial travel to the Moon. Roy reflects on the past, watching an old recording of his father expressing optimism about discovering a new life. His father's message, delivered as he passed Jupiter, still resonates. "I love you, son." Colonel Thomas Pruitt, an old friend of Roy's father, is slated to accompany him on this mission. Roy confides in Pruitt his belief that his father is deceased. Pruitt, a 31-year veteran astronaut, acknowledges the allure of space and how it can lead individuals toward an alternate form of escapism. Roy experiences a sudden flashback of being in love with Eve as he readies himself for the lunar journey. Contemplating sending her a heartfelt voice message confessing that he never wanted her to depart, he ultimately decides against it. His journey to the Moon takes place aboard a cutting-edge commercial airline, a far cry from the dreams they once shared. With another planet earmarked for resource extraction, Roy's cynicism brands humans as world eaters, convinced his father would disapprove. Roy holds an unwavering belief in his father's heroism, a fact evident in his conversations with Colonel Pruitt, who he deems as part of a desperate endeavor at best. Complications arise as Roy's connecting flight to Mars transits the dark side of the Moon, a supposed no man's land. En route, they encounter aggression, with shots fired at Roy's rover, prompting frantic pleas for backup. A bullet grazes Roy, puncturing his suit, though he manages to seal it in the nick of time. Roy retaliates, launching his rover over a crater but landing safely. 2 missiles are dispatched from the station, eliminating the pursuing pirates, at the cost of all those accompanying them. Colonel Pruitt, wounded during the altercation, foresees his demise en route to Mars. In his final moments, he entrusts Roy with a drive to reveal the mission's true nature, to eradicate every trace of the Lima project. As they head toward Mars, a distress call interrupts their journey. With the co-pilot stricken by fear, Roy takes his place and boards the ship with the captain. Upon separation, Roy encounters a shocking sight, a large baboon devouring the captain. When the primate turns its attention to Roy, he defends himself, employing a device to shock the creature. Just as he secures Captain Tanner, another baboon attacks. Roy hastily seals the room containing the baboons, fortifying his helmet with duct tape and returning with the former captain. The co-pilot assumes the role of captain, while Roy takes the co-pilot's seat. Upon landing, an issue with the rocket's angle off course emerges. Roy urgently seeks permission from the chief pilot to rectify the situation, but the pilot is paralyzed with fear and incapable of responding. With time running out, Roy takes matters into his own hands, making a critical decision to safeguard their mission. With calm concentration, Roy stabilizes the airship, deciding that he will keep the incident unreported once it's resolved. As they enter the underground facilities, it becomes evident they've landed during a power surge. Helen Lantos, the head of Mars operations, greets Roy, and they prepare for a secure laser transmission, complete with a pre-written script. Roy mechanically recites the message, offering a rescue mission, but they receive no response. He's long suspected that Spacecom was using him, but he feels trapped, still yearning for the possibility of his father's survival. For the first time, he deviates from the script, sharing genuine memories. A discussion ensues among the officers, and they abruptly inform him of his imminent return to Earth. Roy inquires if they've received any response from his father, but he's told that he's being removed from the mission due to his connection. He insists that his father would have replied if they were to pull him out, but Spacecom remains silent, leaving Roy desperate. The walls he'd constructed around himself begin to crumble as his blood pressure rises, exceeding 80 for the first time in his excitement. After failing a psychological evaluation, he's led to a calming room adorned with white walls and paintings of flowers and birds. Helen Lantos enters, and initially, he rebuffs her, needing time to think. She questions Roy about the nuclear munitions aboard the Cepheus, which is set to depart on a search and destroy mission to Neptune. She then takes Roy to another part of the base and shares all she knows, including her belief in his father's survival. Helen discloses her Martian origins and her parents' involvement in the Lima mission. A recording plays, capturing screams, and then Roy's father appears. He describes how the crew began to boycott the mission, yearning to return home after 16 years of searching for another life. His father couldn't allow that and emphasized the significance of their quest, something greater than themselves. When the crew sabotaged the ship, he was compelled to act, resulting in the deaths of everyone. Spacecom fashioned him as a hero to protect themselves. Roy asks Helen if she can escort him to the Cepheus. She guides him closer to the shuttle, and he descends into a hatch tube, plunging into a lake in a full spacesuit, using a rope line to progress. It's a close call, but Roy narrowly makes it onto the Cepheus before it departs. He insists he's not a threat, but his pleas fall on deaf ears as Spacecom instructs the crew to neutralize Roy by any means necessary. They struggle to reach him, and when a shot hits one of the oxygen tanks, the air becomes toxic. In a last-ditch effort, he tries to place a mask on the captain, but it's too late. Roy contacts Mission Control to explain his boarding of the Cepheus, sadly reporting the death of all crew members. He states that he's en route to Neptune to eradicate any remnants of the Lima project. He disconnects all means of communication to avoid detection and embarks on the 79-day journey. Aboard the ship, Roy watches a video of Eve expressing her frustration about how immersed he is in his work. Roy proceeds to insert a feeding tube into his stomach and affix electrodes to his body, seemingly for muscle stimulation during the space journey. The solitude takes its toll as he grapples with a flood of conflicting memories, and both his mental and physical state begins to deteriorate. As Roy finally approaches Neptune, he enters the nuclear codes to gain access to the explosives. Yet, as he nears the Lima station, his spacecraft succumbs to a power surge, causing a loss of power. He radios Lima in a bid to contact his father. However, his ship sustains damage and becomes unable to dock. He leaves the capsule and enters Lima, which drifts away into space without him. Inside the hatch, he encounters the eerie sight of deceased astronauts floating amidst an old-school music video still playing. In his father's room, Roy discovers a multitude of crazed notes scribbled across numerous papers and journals. When he locates the room with the antimatter, he positions the nuclear device. Suddenly, he hears his father calling his name. After a protracted silence, Roy tentatively initiates a conversation, saying, "Hi Dad, are you alone?" Clifford responds that he's been alone for a long time. Roy suggests that he's trying to halt the surge, but Clifford explains that previous escape attempts led to a meltdown. Roy insists it's time to return, but his father counters that he's already home and has always recognized it was a one-way journey. Clifford delivers a harsh blow, confessing, "I never cared for you or your mother, your little ideas." Roy responds with quiet acceptance, stating, "I know." Desiring to leave, Roy reaches out to his father, who eventually lets him guide him to his spacesuit. During a heartfelt moment, Roy's father expresses his pride, saying, "I am proud of you, my son, for being so brave as to go alone." He laments that if they had more individuals like Roy, they might have persevered and discovered what they were searching for. However, his crew reviewed the data and found no signs of other life, leading to their decision to give up. Once fully suited up, they depart from the Lima station, tethered together by an anchoring rope. Roy requests his father to climb up with him, but instead, his father propels himself into space, instructing Roy to release him. Roy initially attempts to pull him back with a tether, but his father insists, saying, "Unhook me, son." Reluctantly, Roy complies, and his father drifts into the cosmos, leaving Roy adrift, questioning the purpose of it all. Yet, after contemplating Earth, he resolves to return to Lima. Roy removes a panel door and deploys it as a shield, propelling himself through the rings of Neptune and back towards his ship, determined to find a new direction. As Roy navigates his way back through the rings of Neptune, He skillfully dodges asteroids and recalls how he downloaded his father's data before departing the Lima station. His father's data contained unprecedented details, capturing the beauty of these planets, even though they lacked the life he sought. In his relentless pursuit of the elusive, he had overlooked the inherent beauty of the cosmos. Using his trusty suit thrusters, Roy successfully makes it back to the Cepheus, landing roughly but managing to grasp an exterior handle. Roy radios command to report his arrival at Lima, affirming his intent to detonate the device to quell the surges. He plans to employ the explosion as his propellant for the return journey. If he doesn't survive, he instructs them to go to great lengths to recover both his remains and the data amassed over the years. The Cepheus violently shakes as it propels forward with immense speed. Now sporting a beard, he approaches Earth. After a safe landing and background chatter from the communications system, he's back on Earth. Soldiers hurry to retrieve him, and with wobbly legs, Roy is supported by several men. He undergoes a psychological evaluation, and following a recovery period, he reunites with his ex-wife, Eve. During his final psychological evaluation, Roy makes a profound declaration, stating, "I've decided to live a shared life from now on. I will share the burdens of others and let my loved ones be part of my sorrows. I choose to live and to love." And at last I will say, stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.